Developers have been encroaching upon different neighborhoods in our community. They have displaced residents, displaced businesses, and left us with a community that is losing their character and their value. Take Back Our City is an opportunity to shift power. What we're saying is that we as a community need to have more power at our jurisdiction. We are at the whim of too many elected officials who succumb to power. Take Back Our City says that we as community board residents should have the power to vote when it comes to zoning and land use matters. And it's important for us to be able to say we as a community, we as a people, we want to have a voice when it comes to the character, when it comes to what's going on in our community and in our neighborhood. And the power has to rest within the community members and the residents. And on that note, I'll first call on Councilman Barron to say a few words.
Whose city?
Our city.
Whose city?
Our city.
Whose city?
Our city.
This city belongs to the people. The mayor has given this city to the rich. He turned over all of the land to rich developers, and the use of eminent domain as a powerful tool of the state. The use of eminent domain to make developers richer was not the original intent for eminent domain. Eminent domain, when the state can take over your property to build something on it, was supposed to be for hospitals, for the public use, for the public good. It was supposed to be for parks, highways, schools, not for Yankee Stadium, not for the Nets to build arena, not for the Mets to build a baseball stadium, not for Ratner to make more profits. Eminent domain was supposed to be for the public use, not for the private use. Support any legislation that talks about recalling an elected official, especially if we can recall this mayor. This would be right on time. Because if there's any elected official that needs to be recalled, it's Mayor Bloomberg. He shouldn't have had the extra term anyway. So this would be a perfect recall movement to recall Mayor Bloomberg. And plus we get a twofer in that, because we'll get rid of Mayor Bloomberg and Police Commissioner Kelly to go along with him. So I'm here to support this movement. Monique Washington has been a long-time activist in our community. This is an idea whose time has finally come. And I say this city is our city. This $68 billion budget is the people's budget, not the mayor's budget. The $132.5 billion state budget is the people's budget. And unless we take power, power is the ability for you to make decisions in your best interest, not having others make it for you. When we have to march, demonstrate, scream, and holler, that's leverage, that's influence. When we actually have the power to make the decision on land use and recalling elected officials, that's real power. I support this movement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ndigo. Thank you so much for announcing this campaign to take back our city. It has been, without a doubt, a challenge for many of us at the grassroots level to garner support and resources to do the work that we do. We see, because one of the most powerful things that can be done is for us to grow our own food. We see that the numbers and the statistics that we get from the health department reflect conditions that are preventable. Diabetes is preventable. Some of the heart diseases are preventable. A lot of that relates to the foods that we're eating, the fast foods that are in our certain neighborhoods that impact negatively and burden communities of color. So Community Vision Council has been working on roots work, getting gardening in community gardens, rooftop gardens, neighborhood gardens, even encouraging people to grow their own food if they don't have a backyard. So again, I thank my sister Ndigo Washington for the Take Back Our City campaign, and CVC joins her in this initiative. Thank you.
We need to empower the city that politicians are held accountable. And right now, our politicians are not held accountable. So I'm hoping that this takes off, and I hope that the community wakes up and stops with the apathy that we can't do anything, because we can make a change in the city.
Ndigo, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for these comments. I truly appreciate it. It's a pleasure staying outside of City Hall. I've been here a million times. I think that what you're doing is actually something we need from the community. One of the things we're doing in Harlem is basically influencing black youth to go into the law as well as going into medicine. There's only 3% of black doctors in this country. There's only 12% of black lawyers. What we're trying to do is basically build a law library / museum, and then using the landmark that we're talking about, we're using this landmark as the law library on 126th Street. We're going to have what they call the Lawyers Walk of Fame, just like you have the Stars Walk of Fame. And we feel as though by dealing with the landmarks we have in Harlem, we'll be able to build our legacy we're trying to build the same way that you have the Stars Walk of Fame. We want to start dealing with addressing issues that's very important to us within our community to keep our legacy alive. By them rezoning Harlem, all the things we see with Malcolm X Boulevard, Mountain Plain Power Boulevard, all these landmarks we're talking about may be changed in the redistricting of Harlem. The bottom line is that what we need to do is build a legacy that's very important to black folks in Harlem to deal with who we are as a people. We cannot allow people to come into our community, and by coming in our community and just taking over our community, what happens is they come into the community like we're out of place. People come into our community and they look at us like we're out of place. We're the ones that were there before they were there. We're the ones that built this country. We're the ones that came here by slave trade. We have a right here just like anybody else. We have been disfranchised with the law. A lot of times laws are made to depress black folks in this country. We need to start dealing with addressing the laws that's depressing black folks in this country and addressing issues that's very important to us as a people, especially in the urban community. We have to start dealing with attorneys that's willing to work with us, willing to start dealing with our black men being railroaded through the system. The money's being used and sent upstate to these camps, what I call slave master camps. We need to start dealing with addressing who we are as a people and start moving forward and seeing how we can come together as a people in unity to deal with addressing issues that's very important to us, especially in the urban community where we're being pushed out. This problem is not just happening in the state of New York, this problem is happening throughout the country. You can go anywhere you want to go in the United States, and this is what's going on throughout the country. This is not Occupy New York, it's Occupy the city, Occupy United States. They don't want you to own anything, they want you to rent from them. If you notice, everything that you're doing today with developers, they're pushing you out to the point where you can't own the apartment anymore. You got to rent the apartment. The bottom line, you can't own a house anymore. You got to rent the house. The bottom line is what we're trying to do is buy the house back. And that's why we're here today, standing here today and saying we got to get the house back and get our house in order. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I truly appreciate it, and God bless.
Thank you very much. I'm here to urge all New Yorkers to join Take Back Our City. It is unconscionable that Mayor Bloomberg and Christine Quinn and all of the city council people, except for our wonderful Charles Barron, voted against a hospital in the West Village. Isn't it shocking that 1.5 million people on the West Side no longer have a hospital? How dare they close St. Vincent's? And now they are closing 3 or 4 hospitals in Brooklyn. We must join this movement, and I thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. So that concludes our press conference. As we said, Take Back Our City is an opportunity for community residents to grab power. We have to put ourselves in a position of being the decision makers in our community, whether it's around land use, whether it's around housing, whether it's around zoning, whether it's about dealing with the stop and frisk. We see that our hospitals are being closed down. We see that Bloomberg has put himself in a position of playing with the education and the lives of our children. So we are creating, and we call on the community, we call on grassroots organizations and coalitions and individuals and small businesses to join us in this fight as we develop a legislative and a policy agenda to take back our community and take back our cities. We are in a place where we're saying we're going to shift power. The power is in our hands, and we ask you to join us today. Thank you, and God bless.
All right.